Thanks everybody for joining us. My name is Eric Hudson. I'm with the Arizona region of USA Volleyball, and tonight we have a pretty special presentation. Two Arizona born and bred talents on the international and national beach scene. On your left side of the screen is Betsy Flint. She's in her 4th season as a coach with Loyola Marymount Beach Volleyball. She was an indoor standout for 4 years at LMU, where she finished as the school's all-time leader in digs and aces and was selected WCC Defensive Player of the Year 3 times. She played 2 years of beach also at LMU, was an All-American, and the last year she teamed with the person on her right, Sarah Sponcil, on a pretty incredible season, and they got all the way to the NCAA championship match. Her pro beach career includes 5 AVP titles, 3 FIVB titles, and is currently in the USA Beach program. She was the AVP newcomer in 2015 and was voted the AVP's best server last season. So we're very happy to have and welcome Betsy Flint on the left side of the screen.
Thank you.
And on the side, laying in her bed drinking punch, Sarah Sponsil also played at LMU indoor, where she was the Conference Defensive Player of the Year and the LMU Female Athlete of the Year in 2016. I believe it was 2015. She helped engineer one of the biggest upsets in NCAA history when LMU defeated Stanford and got to the round of 16. She transferred her senior year to UCLA, helping the Bruins get to the Sweet 16 of indoor NCAAs as well. And as a beach player at UCLA, she helped the team win their very first NCAA beach championship in 2018. And just a couple of days later, kind of shocked the beach world by getting to the finals of the AVP Austin tournament, making her Volleyball Magazine's 2018 Rookie of the Year. So we're also very happy to welcome Sarah Sponcil. So hey guys, thanks for coming.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, you guys can talk now. That's okay. So
you're making me feel old. 2018 Newcomer of the Year. Wow.
Yeah, I know. So I want to start with where you guys started, and I'll let you kind of bounce back and forth. But how did you get into volleyball? What were you playing before that? Were you playing other sports? What was it about volleyball that grabbed you? And just kind of take it from there. So Sarah, you're younger. We'll start with you, and we'll let Betsy collect her thoughts.
Just volleyball in general. So my parents used to do co-ed leagues at like a church near my house. So that's kind of like how I started getting into volleyball. Just like being a gym rat, they would, drag me and my sister to these different games. And I remember my sister being in kindergarten, and me and my dad would show up early, and we had this it wasn't even a volleyball, I didn't even know what it was, but he would just toss to me and I would try to pass. I would shank it, go run, shank it again. And yeah, I started, playing volleyball at a very young age, about 3 years old. And yeah, I basically kept going to all the different co-ed leagues that my parents went to, and started club at a very young age at 6 years old. I was on my first 12s team, which is kind of crazy. Spandex didn't fit me, nothing fit me. Knee pads were down at my ankles. So my dad coached me basically my entire life, and I think I was in the 12s division for 5 years. On the 12-6s team at AZ Sky. And eventually made my way up to 12-1s and all of that stuff. So I never really played any other sports officially, I guess. I mean, I did swim and dive at in the summers, which was not really a thing, I guess. I didn't really pursue it any farther than that. And then started gymnastics for 3 or 4 months, and apparently I didn't like it. So I was sticking with volleyball. But that's the only thing I really have ever done competitively, been on a team wise, was volleyball. But I've always liked to, play by myself outside, and whether that's basketball, soccer, but never anything else competitively. So yeah.
Betsy, what about you?
I started playing volleyball in 6th grade at the YMCA, and I grew up playing a lot of sports because my brother and sister played volleyball, basketball, everything, baseball. And we grew up in a really small town in South Dakota before we moved to Arizona in 6th grade. So I actually started doing club in 7th, and I think that's when I started beach around 7th or 8th grade. I know Arizona region had a ton of like beach tournaments where this was before like beach clubs, and we just play twice a week, I think it was, like Tuesday and Thursday nights, and yeah, under the lights, would drive up to victory lanes, and it was fun. I remember, I mean, we were really bad my first year. I played with a friend, and we were so bad. I'm sure Eric, you remember this, but we got better, we persevered, and I played with one of my best friends, Anna Gott. And yeah, we were just playing all the time, and it was fun because it was unstructured, and we just got to figure it out and problem solve on our own. But yeah, I did indoor since 6th grade and played for Molly West at Desert Vista and went to college at LMU for indoor, and then we got a beach team. That was a dream come true. It's always been my favorite.
So I want to go back for a second because the beach program where you guys kind of started in Arizona, I know Betsy, I do remember you when you were 10 or 11, and it was
It was pretty.
anyway. But I remember Sarah coming out too and stuff. But there's something about that program, and I don't know why, but when I think of some of the players who have been through there, like Maddie Kingdon played a bunch, and yeah, the names are escaping me right now, but there was a couple of the national team libero, Amanda Benson played there. She was there a lot of years, and Brooke Nunaville, one of the junior national team. And for some reason, is it because there was no coaches? Is that because you guys had to figure it out for yourself, or what was it about that program? Or
Yeah,
was
I'm
it
not sure. I think that's part of it is we got to like have fun while playing, and indoor is so structured and like super disciplined, which is awesome, and we grew so much, but it was really cool to go play for fun and not have someone, I don't know, like judging your every move. You're just trying to figure it out, which I think is great right now that they have beach clubs and they have coaches teaching like how to play, but kind of letting your players have a little freedom too, and letting them go play in a tournament by themselves without giving so much feedback is really beneficial. I think that helped for sure.
what do you think?
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely agree. I always think, yeah, just I think when you have coaches, it's hard for kids to realize like how to problem solve on their own because they're constantly being told either what they're doing wrong or they're going to their coach or looking at it like during a game, like what did I do? Like how do I fix this? And I think kind of what Betsy was saying, there's like a sort of freedom and it's almost more challenging to figure it out on your own. And I think it's so beneficial when you get into a game, and especially now when we're on the world tour and we don't have coaches, and when things aren't going well, like we don't have anyone to turn to except maybe our partner to figure these things out. And I think yeah, looking back, I think it was awesome that it forced us to figure out like why am I shanking this pass? Why am I doubling this? And you have to figure it out because no one's there to tell you. And so you're constantly asking yourself those questions. And I really think kids aren't really challenged enough to figure it out on their own. And so I'm very lucky to kind of have that freedom that Betsy said. So
Yeah, I remember little lanky 10-year-old Sarah playing in like the 18s division.
Trying to figure out what the heck I was doing.
That was awesome.
This is true. So your career paths kind of came together a little bit, and there's the common denominator seemed to be a guy named Tom Black. And I'm gonna let Betsy go first because she kind of blazed the trail here for Sarah a little bit. But what was it about Tom that you wanted to play for him? And then I think Sarah, even still, you had gotten some offers for some other schools, but you really wanted to seemingly play for Tom. So Betsy, I'll let you go first, but talk about your indoor career at LMU and just talk about your coaching and Tom.
Yeah, I got recruited pretty late in the game, and I was lucky enough to have Tom. They had a coaching change before then, so I was one of his first recruits. And I didn't realize how lucky I was until like after the fact or a couple years in, how awesome of a coach he is. And he used a lot of like guided discovery and really taught me like the fundamentals of the game, and just got my mind like thinking more. I felt like I always had like a volleyball IQ, but really like understanding the game from a fundamental level. And obviously he helped a ton mentally, and he brought people in, experts in to help with us. So yeah, he's definitely a big influence in my life, and I was really lucky to have him as a coach at LMU.
Sarah?
No, I completely agree with Betsy. I too didn't really. The only thing I mean, I committed very early. I was probably like freshman, sophomore year of high school, going to sophomore year, and I committed very early. I didn't know what I was doing, or the three biggest reasons why I committed to LMU, which is very bad. I don't encourage this. Was Betsy went there, and I was like, oh my God, Betsy like Flint is, or Meter at the time, is going there, and I was just like every day in the gym, I would like go in early. I'm like, oh my God, she's doing this. Like I would watch like every move. And so when she was like, oh, I'm going to LMU, I'm like, that is where I'm going. Like that was like my mind, and it's not good. Like don't encourage it, but that was a huge reason. So she went there, and I was like, yep, that's it. And then I remember Tom Black being like the indoor, like working with the USA women's national team, and like that was like a huge goal of mine at the time. And I was like, well, he has to be like a really good coach if he's, you know, hired in this position. So I immediately jumped at the opportunity when, you know, he recruited me. So yeah, jumped on board very early and didn't really understand like how much Tom would, you know, influence me in my life. But I think the mindset piece was huge. I feel like I knew a lot about volleyball, and you know, maybe more than the other girls. But I think when I entered college, that wasn't really like the whole mindset thing. I didn't really understand it, and how it would, you know, help down the road in pressured situations, and just like how your mind works. It's just, and I'm still learning a lot about it, but I just remember going into his office, and he was just like, why did you feel that way? Like, what made you hit that way or like shoot that way? I'm like, no one's asking, like when you're whatever in high school, no one's asking you those deep of questions. Well, at least it didn't happen to me. So it really, like Betsy said, got your mind thinking about just everything, like why you're doing what you're doing, and like how to get better. And I never really had a, you know, experience like that, I guess, with the mindset piece of things. So I really, yeah, I loved Tom for that, and yeah, still talk to him today. So yeah, very influential for me.
He seems to be very good at getting buy-in. And one of the things that is common with both of you is you both changed positions from like your 18 club season and even kind of your freshman year in college, and suddenly you're switching positions. Was it more of a team need, or he just saw that he could pull out the better of you in that position? Or do you remember how that went? Either.
For me, I came in as an outside, and my first year, my freshman year, I was playing DS, and I was doing it well, and I knew I wasn't gonna play as an outside. I wasn't, um, I don't know, I just wasn't putting the ball away like the other outsides, so I knew I wasn't gonna play. And we had kind of talked about me switching to the role as a libero, because I wanted to play all the time. I didn't want to sit on the bench, and I was out digging our current libero, and I was playing half the rotations. So I was like, all right, I think this is time to switch. So I did, and it was a challenge for sure at first, just that like I don't know, that mindset of like, oh man, am I good enough? They can't take me out. They just they put me in. I don't like they can't sub me out now. But we got through that hump fairly quick, and it definitely paid off. So definitely, I mean, it was a team thing, and I wanted to play, and it was a way for me to play.
Yeah. And Sarah, I think I told you this one time. This may be you may be the only person in NCAA history that's gotten to 2 Sweet 16s with 2 different teams at 2 different positions. I'm pretty sure you're the only person in history that's ever happened.
I did not know that.
Guessing, I'm not a historian per se, even though I'm old enough to be one, but I can't think of anybody else that 2 different teams, 2 Sweet 16s, 2 different positions. You want to talk about that for a sec?
Yeah, yeah, kind of same with Betsy. Like when you go in freshman year, like that's the thing you want to play. You don't want to be on the bench. And I went in, and I knew I was competing against a setter that had already been there for 2 years. And it wasn't out of like I didn't think I was gonna beat her out, but it kind of was just like, I just want to play. Like, I don't really care what I'm doing, what position it is. And I remember just double days, Tom coming up to me and he was like, so you want to play outside? And honestly, it was like the best thing that he's ever, I mean, he said a lot of things, but it was like the best moment because I'd been setting for so long. And my dad was always like, you can be an outside hitter like any day of the week. Like there's tons of outside hitters, but like setters, they're very rare. No one likes to set, like all this stuff. So I like, that's why I set for so long. And it's not that I didn't like it, but I really just wanted to change and I wanted to do something different and try something new. And I was like, when he asked me that, I was like, oh my gosh, yes, I want to, jump at this opportunity. And yeah, we just like got to work and I think it was just, I felt like a sponge, almost like there's so much I needed to learn so quickly going into season that was like 3 weeks away my freshman year. So yeah, I loved the challenge of trying something new. And I think I'm not really sure why I bought into doing that, and I didn't know where it was going to lead me or if I was going to be amazing at it. But I think just everyone in general loves to hit the ball. Like, so I think any opportunity that someone asks you to do that, you're going to say yes. And I was fortunate enough to beat some outside hitters that were recruited and, did really well. But yeah, I think I think the mindset was I want to play and I don't care how I do it. So yeah, it was a good experience.
So Betsy's senior year, you guys play together in beach. So was it your junior year, Betsy, that beach finally came to LMU? Was it your junior year?
My sophomore year, and then I had redshirted junior year of beach, and so this was my 5th year.
Obviously.
Yep, pretty much. So my 5th year is when I played with Sarah. So she was a freshman.
Yeah. So talk about that season together.
I'll go first.
You can start.
No, I think the thing that makes me laugh a lot, looking back, is just like the beginning of our partnership or like before our partnership. And I just remember like you and Tara, Latara Kyle were the one spot, and like I knew that, and I was like, okay, like Tara's the blocker. She's probably gonna be at the ones this year. Like I need to like, everyone wants to be in the one spot. So immediately I like felt this like tension and like, let's back up. Like was my idol forever. And so now I'm like competing kind of against her. We're all like, I feel like practice is just like so tense and we're like, no, like I have 7 points. No, like that didn't count. Like 8
so
points.
competitive.
We were so competitive for the first like 2 months, just like trying out different partners and we're all trying to, if I'm with Tara, like I could sense that I was like, oh my God, like we need to do something. And then I was freaking out when she was with Tara and it was just madness. And I just remember coming back from practice, I'm like, oh God, like I'm gonna get the one spot, like this is gonna, and I was just like, we were all for it. And I just remember, I don't know when, like a couple weeks before season, and Tom's like, okay, Betsy, Sarah, like you're together, and we're like, wait, what the heck is going on?
I remember we would play together, and you're like, I'll go run up and block. I was like, oh, gladly, I don't want to block. And Tom's like pushing us, all right, you guys should split block. I remember talking to Tom, like I babysat for him. I babysat for him, and he's like, you and Sarah are gonna play together, and I was like, no, I don't want to block. I hate blocking. And I'm so glad he decided to do that. It was a ton of fun. And obviously it made us super competitive, which paid off because we were intense on the court. I don't think we smiled. Well, we smiled a lot after. We made so many memories.
We probably got don't smile, don't do it.
So Sarah, what was the best memory that you have of that season of Betsy? Like was there a moment you remember that just makes you laugh right now, or?
Oh gosh. Oh my God.
Be ready about Sarah.
I'm trying to think. There was some really good, I think just there's a lot of like one story really comes to mind, but like anytime we played USC, we played them. I'm not like probably like 7 or 8 times
I
throughout the
think
entire.
so. That's not an exaggeration.
No,
Wow.
like it was like every other weekend. We're like, okay, we're playing Kelly and Sarah, let's go. And yeah, that was like half of our regular season was playing them. And so anytime we got on a court with them, it was like a dog fight, like back and forth. When I got a block, like I think we got our first, like our 2 blocks that season on them, and I just remember going so nuts. We were going so crazy.
That's a
Um,
memory.
yeah, so I think USC anytime was crazy, but I just remember going to Gulf Shores.
Yes.
Why? Like anything in Gulf Shores was funny. I don't even know, but it was me, Betsy, and Felicia that went, and Tom. But we were all in the room. I don't even know why we were laughing. But basically, that
Because
entire
it's
trip,
Sarah. Sarah just laughs.
no, I laughed, and then Betsy started laughing, and I thought she was gonna pee her pants. I'm not like I think I peed my pants because we were laughing so hard. I don't even know what it was about. We like scared someone, but yeah, that trip was by far one of the best trips I've ever been on. I mean, even seasons, it was just, we learned a ton. We had so much fun. Yeah, it was just a blast. Lots of good memories.
Yeah. Yeah.
Betsy, one.
Yeah, I mean, a volleyball memory. I do remember in the national championship, I think we were seeded second in like very first round. I don't know if we underestimated this team, but we had an epic comeback that we had no business being down. So that was a good memory that we pulled that one out, and then we took care of business the rest of the way till the
Yeah.
end. But yeah, the same thing. Gulf Shores was just so much fun. Yeah, we just like were dying laughing in the grocery stores and restaurants and
I remember, yeah, going to the
oh,
grocery.
after national championship, we were like pissed we had lost, obviously. And like we had eaten this crappy, I don't know, like some fried food because that's all there was. And like we had to walk home and we were at the farthest hotel and I was like cramping so bad. And yeah, that's pretty, I don't know, just anything Shores was
Yeah.
hilarious.
Remember going to the grocery store and we're just like buying random things, putting in the car. Like, I don't know. I remember you going to this, like, it was like this flower bouquet of like chocolates and stuff, and we had no business buying it at all. But like, Betsy just starts placing like random things in the cart. We're just, oh, it was crazy. It
Just
was,
to see if anyone would notice.
Wow.
yeah, I was like, what is, yeah.
Hey, Mark asked the question, what advantages or disadvantages for Betsy experiencing as a libero indoors, leading to your beach career? Is there any advantages
Um,
to that?
I think one advantage that I might not have realized is I probably saved my arm and my body by not doing that for 4 years indoor, and then I was still able to play beach, so I still got the hitting reps. I always felt like when I come to the beach, it took me a little bit longer because I wasn't jumping as much as indoor. But you get your sand legs pretty quick and like just adapt through weight training. But I think you learn a lot of leadership skills as a libero too, because that's one of the positions where you're on the court the whole time and you're bringing the team together. Yeah, I mean, there's a ton of advantages. Like I remember Tom telling me like he's trying to get me to be more aggressive because I didn't like diving in front of people, and he's like, just pretend like you're on the beach, just go dig every ball. So from then on, I like became a ball hog a little bit, but he got me in that mindset of like, no, this is like the beach, just go dig whatever ball you see. So yeah.
Yeah. So I want to talk about partnerships a little bit. So you guys, Betsy, you graduate, go on your way, and Sarah, you got another year or another 3 years at LMU, and then coach resigns, goes to Georgia, and you decide to go to UCLA and play beach there. Talk about that championship season there with Stein Metzger as your coach.
Yeah, it was an amazing experience to go to UCLA, and just the culture that they've built there is something just really special. I feel like we had a really good foundation, what we wanted to obviously accomplish. We all want to win, but like how we want to do it and what way we want to do it. And I just remember I was honestly pretty scared to go to UCLA just because didn't think I was gonna make friends. That was literally why I didn't want to go. I was like, oh my God, I'm not gonna make friends.
You're like
Like,
the friendliest person ever.
I know, but that was like a huge like
Yeah.
thing on my list. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna be that person in the cafeteria with no friends. But I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna jump, go for it. But yeah, I just remember talking to Stein, after my indoor season. But I think the biggest thing for me is I really didn't care what position I played, or like what pairing I played. I just like wanted to win that first like championship, just like everyone else did with them. And he sat down, he was like, well, like who do you want to play with? And was asking me stuff like that. And I was just like, whatever you think I can play with and do well with, like, I'm totally okay with that. And I think it was really cool. My partner was at the fives at the time the year before, and we were at the twos the next year. So I think it was kind of like a leadership opportunity for me as well to kind of like guide her and kind of just help us win games. And it tested my patience and yeah, just like leadership overall, just how to be a good teammate. Yeah, so I learned a ton, but yeah, I think it was a cool opportunity.
I want to talk about partners on the beach, because I think some people think this is a really easy, I'll just go play with so-and-so and it's not a big deal, or I'll go play with so-and-so. And, you both, Sarah, I think you're going on your 33rd or 34th partner in 3 years. So I don't know what's going on with that. But just talk about, how to get a partner. And then also just, you gotta play a lot with that partner, nurture with that partner. And then when things don't go well, what happens? So, Betsy, I'll start with you on that one.
Yeah, I think it's important though that like in high school and college, it's fun to play with different people and you learn so much. Um, but with that being said, it's so nice now having a stable relationship because partners are like a relationship and you spend so much time off the court. I'd always joke with my first partner, like I spent more time with her than my husband our first couple years of marriage, like all the anniversaries, all our birthdays we spent together. So it's so important. I started playing with Kelly Larson. We compete against each other. She played at Pepperdine. And it was fun because we just built like a solid relationship, a friendship. And I think you find that with Kelly too. Sarah, different Kelly, Kelly plays. But now with my current partner, Emily, it's the same thing. Like we care about each other. We talk a lot off the court. And obviously the relationship on the court matters. But if you're good off the court, then things just work out for the best.
And Sarah, what about your first MVP in Austin, right? You played how long with that partner? That was that weekend, right?
Yeah, I think Lauren and I had like one practice in Hermosa before we flew out to Austin. But I think, yeah, just like Betsy said, communication is key. And it was funny. I just remember being in the room the night before the AVP, and like I'm just nervous as heck. I'm just like, oh my gosh, what am I getting myself into? This is an amazing opportunity, but like Lauren's like 20 years older than me. What do I talk about? I just like I don't know what's going on. Like I'm laying in the bed. I'm like, what do I say? But I think the biggest thing that communication was key during that weekend, and she just took me under her wing, and I trusted her, and I think just any partner that I have, I think yeah, you just want to have a good relationship with them, not only on the court but off the court. Obviously, it's hard when you're switching partners all the time, but I think just treating them the way that not you want, like they want to be treated. I think whenever I approach a partner, yeah, you don't know where it's going to go, and it might be you might play with them like only one weekend and you might not play with them ever again. But I always just think like, in 5 years from now, like, would they say that I'm a good partner? Like, did I help them? Like, if they were struggling, did she just, be like, oh, like, whatever, like, gosh, like, let's just get this game over with? Or like, how am I supposed to help you? Like, what do you need in this time, like, in this moment? Because if you're doing that to them, like, they're gonna for sure want to do that to you, and, in the future, maybe partner up with them again. So I think just having that mindset, even just in college, like, I didn't know how Lily and I were gonna do. I didn't know her at the time, but I think just taking, like, having that mindset is like, you know, in 10 years, like, I want to be known as like someone that helped them. And we try to do the best that we could, and, you know, and then, you know, move on. And, but like Betsy said, I think communication is key. And the more that you show that, and like you're there for them and the good times and the bad times, you know, the better off you are, like on the court, off the court. If you're a bad teammate off on the court, then like, what do you expect them to do off the court, you know? So, yeah.
I'm just going to remind our attendees that we've got about a half an hour left or a little bit more. So if you have any questions, fire them up, put them in the question box, and I'll make sure I get them answered. One of you, I want you to explain how difficult the Olympic process is for through USA Volleyball. So evidently, Betsy, it's going to be you.
Right.
But, you know, but I think there's this kind of thought that because you're in the USA, you know, pipeline, that you get this weekly check and that you get to kind of do whatever you want. And it's not like that at all. Because I know I've had conversations with you about it. So can you kind of give it, and you can go as deep dive as you want into it, but kind of give us an idea of what it's like. And it's going to be weird this year because obviously there was an Olympics. It's going to get bumped back a year. So I don't even know if that's altered anything. But explain the process of how a team from the United States qualifies for the Olympics.
All right, Sarah, you get what I missed. I mean,
Okay.
Olympics, it's fairly simple. I mean, it's your best 12 finishes. So it's the team, and United States only qualifies 2 teams, and it's your best 12 finishes, and you have to be within the top, I think, 15 in the world, unless you get like qualifier bids, which US teams don't typically do because we have teams in the top 15. I think right now we have 4 teams in the top 15. Is that right? And 2 are going. So it's really challenging. Like it's super competitive, and yeah, I mean, I don't know what else there is to the Olympic process. But it's hard. Yeah, you don't get like weekly checks. We earn a stipend. So if you do well enough, they pay, I think, the top 12, like a tiered amount each one, and it's earned. You don't like come into the USA program like getting that. You have to work your way to that point, and it's based on FIVB international points. We're lucky enough we have the USA gym that we get to work out and have those resources, but it's definitely a challenge, and nothing's given to you there.
Yeah, I think another challenge, sorry to interrupt.
No, go ahead.
Another challenge is you might get, you know, that stipend for, I don't even know what the time period is, like 6 months, and then, or 4 or 5 months.
I think it's like
and
3,
then,
yeah, 3 or 4.
3. And based on like how you do, you know, on the FIVB or wherever it is, if you're not doing well, like you could easily bump down and, you know, get a less pay, you know, for the next 3 months. So it's like, it's this teeter totter of like, I need to do well, you know, if I want to make this amount of money. And then, you know, you're on tour trying to, you know, get wins and stuff. And, you know, it's like always for sure going to be in the back of your head, like, well, now we're in 4th place. So, you know, come this new checkup, we're going to go down, we're going to go up. So I think that's another challenge is it's not like, okay, it's like a month or, you know, yearly salary where you're like, I know for sure I'm going to be making this. Like that's not the reality. So that's a little challenging too.
Yeah, and also most people don't know that in international events you only get 4 teams per country. So 3 US teams will play for the 4th spot in that country. So 3 of us fly to Brazil, play in a country quota, and 1 team has the bye, obviously, and you play it off, and the winner gets to be in the qualifier, which usually results in being a main draw. But it's just really a challenge because a lot of times these qualifiers aren't filled up, or, I mean, all of our teams that are in the top 6 like can beat anyone in the main draw. So it's really frustrating that like FAB hasn't like allowed more teams in. I think in the past it was because like they didn't want US and Brazil to dominate the tour, but the tour is like really caught up and there's a lot of good teams, a lot of good countries, and just frustrating when it's not full, like not being able to get all those teams in. But it's definitely a challenge, and it's financially challenging too. I think last year I flew around like, I don't know, like 8, 10 times and lost like every country quota. and it was definitely a low point in our career and in my life, and it's really hard, and it's hard mentally to like go in, like you're just taking a risk on yourself, but we wouldn't do it if we didn't believe in ourselves. It's a challenge. We have a lot of good teams. Like I have to play Sarah every tournament pretty much, and it's not easy.
We
Yeah.
love it. No, but
So the
it,
AVP tournaments though are more, that's more of a paycheck, right? If that, so I mean, that's just, that has nothing to do with the qualifying. That's just basically you get to play in front of hometown or play domestically, and then there's decent prize money at the end of it, right?
For AVPs, you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, AVPs are great, domestically, and obviously like top 16 and 12 are automatically in main draws, and I mean it's not a problem for Sarah and I know a lot of it is for qualifying teams, but yeah, it's awesome because we're able to make money that way and get sponsors and be on Amazon Prime, and that's the fun stuff.
What'd you say, Sarah?
Just to see your family and friends, you know, throughout. all the
It's,
different-
if the Olympic, how would you guys change the Olympic qualifying? Would you change it? You could. What would you like to see?
I don't know. I mean, maybe Sarah, you have an idea, but it is nice that it's over a period of time. 12 tournaments is a lot, but it's like anyone can do well, so it's nice that you have to like be consistent.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure about like having a qualifying tournament or how that changed things, because if I play against Sarah, it doesn't show like how I can do against the rest of the world, if that makes sense.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I have no idea. I barely know how. I just know that you have to have 12 good finishes and you can replace. I think the cool thing is you can, you know, keep playing in more and more and replace them and, you know, try to do better. Um, yeah, I think it's just hard because the US and Brazil are just so deep. So it would obviously be so nice if we could have more than two teams in there. Um, but I'm pretty, yeah, new to all of that, but I have no solution. I
Yeah,
don't know.
it'd be hard to be in USA Volleyball and trying to make all those solutions.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no problem. If there's a lot, beach is blown up. Arizona was, I think, the first state in the country to actually have beach for high school, and now it's in, I want to say 20 states or more, maybe even 30 states. It's colleges everywhere doing it now. So, but there's a lot of kids that get into beach with the thought of being YouTube, and I don't think they realize it's a long road and it's a lot of work and it's a lot of luck and a lot of, fortune along the way. But what advice can you give to like maybe these 12, 13, 14-year-old beach kids that are out there, or maybe even to some of their parents that are thinking, oh, my daughter's great at this, we want to make this a career. What kind of advice can you give them? And Betsy's drinking, so I guess, Sarah, you're first.
Just like, you mean just as like a career wise or
Sure.
just?
Sure. Well, however you think, high school, college,
Yeah.
career, what do you think?
I mean, I think this sounds just really cheesy, but you just gotta love the game so much that you're gonna go out on your own and you're gonna go try to figure it out on your own, I guess. I think so many kids are looking for a magic pill or a magic workout or, just like different things. And, I get on these Zoom calls and they ask those questions like, what are you doing for workouts? Like, what are you doing? And, I never was like that growing up. And I just encourage kids to just, yeah, just work hard and like there is no magic pill. You just have to go out, like get touches, do drills, like makeup drills on your own, but like them personally like have to love it so much and want to understand it. And whether that's watching film or I just remember going out on my own and like in the gym watching Betsy, like doing all these things because I wanted to figure it out. And I think yeah, so I mean, I think there's another part too, just with the career wise in general. I've quickly learned just what it's like to be a professional beach volleyball player, and there's just so much adversity, and then I think that's why I love it so much, is that nothing comes easy. Or not like, here's a plane ticket, get on the plane, oh, here's your food. Like, it just really forces you to adult very fast and also play your sport that you like. So, college is completely different from professional life. So it makes you have to love it that much more because it is a sacrifice. Like you're with your partner all the time, traveling, doing all these things. But I think the biggest thing that I would suggest is you got to like it and understand that um, everyone has like a different path on how they go about it. And there's not one certain way or like one drill that produced this person or, just experiment with it. I think if you love it, you're just going to experiment with it, trial and error. And yeah, things will go from there.
That's good advice. I like what you said, like everyone has their own path. And I remember there being moments where like I compare myself to like, oh, a team over here, they're doing so well. And having to remind myself like, all right, I got to that point where I won an AVP, but I have like a way different path of how I got there than this person. So that's really good. Another thing is like, I think I said it earlier, but playing as much as you can, as often as you can. In college, I think my freshman summer, I lived out of my car and I couch surfed in California and I played with every person I could. It didn't matter how good they were, and it was a ton of fun and it made so many memories. And I actually stayed on Felicia's couch most of the time when she was in summer school. But like I'd go to Santa Barbara and play with a friend, go to San Diego, and that was fun because you just learn to play with everyone. And like you said, you just learn to love the game, especially
Yeah.
because there are so many highs and lows and it's challenging. And yeah,
I
anything
kind of want
more?
to add on to that too, if you
Yeah,
don't mind. Yeah, just like what you said about like comparing yourself, I think that's a huge thing that I learned, um, especially going on to the world tour. And I totally had times where I'm like, oh my God, like that team's doing better, or she has a better line shot, she has a better cut shot, like all these things. And it's a constant battle of like you can't like it's easy to be like, don't compare yourself to other people, but like um I think I learned that. And it's constantly I think you're constantly gonna have to tell yourself that throughout your career is everyone has their different path, everyone has their strengths, but like wishing that you had other things or wishing you had a arm swing like Duda would be amazing, but like wishing you had things is like such a waste of time and such a waste of energy. And yeah, just like take what you have and like do what you can with it. Like that's how I kind of see it now. And it puts you in a better mindset and it helps you get through those lows. Everyone has their struggles, you just don't know it, I guess.
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm going to put you both on the spot here a little bit because I know if I ask this question, you won't answer it. So Sarah, I'm going to ask you about Betsy, and Betsy, I'm
Oh
going to
gosh.
ask a question about Sarah. What separates her? Why is she one of the elite beach players in the world? What is it about her that makes her that special? Because I know she would never answer this question. I know Sarah, you'll never answer this question about you. So yeah.
Well, I think what makes her special is that, like, I think the way that she just dissects the game, and I know that she's always trying to work on something. She's never satisfied whatsoever. I remember going to a Chicago AVP this past year, and I was like, oh my God, like something changed with this girl, and she's like constantly always, I just remember you being so much more aggressive. Maybe you weren't, I don't know, like something was different, and I think. I could be wrong, but like you really take the mindset game so seriously, and that's something that I admire a lot because I don't think a lot of people really dive deep into that, and a lot of people are like, oh my God, like mindset, ew. Like a lot of people were like that in college, and I truly believe that it's a game changer, and like you're always in pressured situations, and I think that's she's always calm in those situations, or at least she seems calm, but yeah, I think just the way that she approaches the game and is always trying to get better, um and I think that's what is going to keep her going. Like she's always gonna you're always going to be on your toes. Like she's always trying to find some sort of way. She's we call her the secret assassin on the AVP because she's always has a plan to kill you, and you have to figure it out or like it's going to happen.
Geez, thanks, Sarah.
Um, but no, it's so much fun because you never know what you're gonna get. She's always changing, so she's always got a plan. You just never know what it is. So
So
Thanks.
Betsy, what separates Sarah? Why is she one of the elite players in our country? What is it about her that makes her so special?
I mean, I
I'm fun.
definitely I hate I hate playing against you because you're just so good. I think she reads the game really well. You dig so many balls that you think like you can't get to. Obviously, you're quick, but you just read the game way better than like any other defender. And I know it's like you've been taught right, and like Tom t taught you how to read, and that's awesome. Um, your serve has gotten so much tougher this last year, and it's been, yeah, I'm
Thanks.
serious.
Come to
Um,
the best server, I'll take it.
I mean, you're a great setter. You pass well. Like you do so many of the like, I don't know, everything so smoothly. I think in general, like you're such a good teammate, and it makes you like mentally strong. And I know like you're never out of it. Like you're 100% mentally in the game all the time. Like, there's players that you can just like break over time, and it's like we can't do that against you. Like you're consistent, and it definitely separates you. And I know like you've always had a standout like career the past couple years that you've been on tour, and it's like gonna be crazy to see you grow. And yeah, when I'm old and done, you're just gonna like keep going.
Dude,
So
you're only 3 years older than me. Calm down.
I know, but it feels like I'm way older.
Sarah, where did you get the nickname Tuna and why?
Dude, that's Molly West. She probably like sent you on a question or something.
You actually did
No,
ask that question. Where did that
I
come from?
root for Molly West. She's one of my most favorite coaches. Just because she's amazing and funny and yes, amazing. But I remember being in, I think it was like 16's year of club, and I was a setter, and she was teaching me the ropes, how to be a good setter, and apparently I was always in the net, like just getting called. I vaguely remember that. That was a long time ago. But I remember like that time of, I guess that year. Remember like that show Deadliest Catch or something? It was like about catching tuna or something. I don't even know. But yeah, she I guess started calling me tuna because of that. I don't even yeah, just because I was in the net and I was like a fish. And but hey, we did pretty well for me being in the net. I don't know if you're still on there, Molly, but we did pretty well.
So one of the things you guys have both brought up is the fact that you've been able to be very good at multiple skills. And I think you've seen this probably, especially Betsy, you on the coaching side, and Sarah probably the same with you, that you get some kids that are like from 12 years old, they're going to be a libero, or from 13 years old, I'm going to be a hitter, or I'm going to be a middle, or whatever. And we see this a lot, the specialization in positions. But you guys have seemed to like just kind of thrown that out the window and kind of flourished because of it. Am I making that up? Does that seem right?
Yeah, I think beach just helps with that. Like you get used to passing, you're setting, you're hitting, you're doing everything. So it makes you more well-rounded. And I think it'd be great if we didn't specialize until like later. I think it's awesome for kids to get used to playing every position, even if you know like they're really good. Challenging them to like just get better for their long-term career rather than like right now. Like you could probably win right now if you made him an outside hitter, but like making him play like 6 rotations. Um, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think it's really weird because I was reading this book called Range, and it was about just everyone is, taught early on to specialize in things. Tiger Woods was, starting at like 2 years old, like beating people, like something crazy. But I think it's so amazing to be able to do other things and to challenge yourself in other things. And I sometimes wish I did other sports growing up, and I still like go out and, shoot hoops, or I'm like, out there. I got soccer cleats this past winter because I love soccer. And yeah, I've been out there trying to like juggle, but I think it's so much fun to yeah, just learn different things and understand why, like how to do it and figure it out on your own, kind of like what me and Betsy did growing up, like at Victory Lanes. Like we had no coach, we didn't know what we were doing, but like how am I gonna, shoot this ball in the hoop or like keep this ball off the ground type thing. And yeah, I encourage all kids to, you know, try different things, because I really think it does help when you do specialize in something later on. It's not, I don't think it, I mean, maybe helps to specialize early on, but I think it kind of hinders in a certain way.
Yeah, I was watching this little documentary on Amazon Prime. I haven't finished it yet, but it's called In Search of Greatness. I would definitely recommend it, and it's pretty cool. They bring up a point how in this day and age you see more like, I mean, parents are like scheduling things out, like they have to be busy every hour of the day. Whereas like when we grew up, it was more like free play, and I was in the backyard like playing soccer between palm trees with my brother, like just being creative. And you see that a little less these days. And I mean, I don't know what the answer is, um, but I think just encouraging like kids to like go out and free play and shoot hoops on their own versus always having a coach and always being told what to do.
Yeah.
More fun.
Yeah, it is.
That's and you want to play more. So one of the things you guys both brought up, and I want to touch on a little bit, is adversity. And you know, Betsy, you said you had a rough season last year because you didn't win any Quincy quotas, and Sarah, you've talked about your trials with adversity. So I guess I want to ask you both, how do you handle it? You know, now that you're professional athletes, you know, it's like you don't have necessarily, you know, you don't have mom and dad to lean on. You don't have necessarily, I mean, you're kind of on your own there and out there a little bit. Although Sarah, you're sitting in your bedroom at your parents' house, and so, but anyway,
I'll
just talk
start
about. But just talk about adversity a little bit and how, you know, what kind of mindset. So for example, Betsy, what kind of mindset are you going to have to do, you know, for next year when you start going to country quotas to overcome this? What are you working on at this point to better that,
Yeah,
to that
I
adversity?
mean, it's really hard. I know Emily and I had talked. We have a sports psychologist who's awesome, and we talked about like, oh, these like valleys and these peaks, um, and we are just like, yeah, like our peak's coming. Like we just kept thinking like our peak's coming. Let's keep working hard. And like we were just in this valley for a really long time where we just kept losing and losing, and it's really hard mentally. But I think for us is like taking that day to like sulk and like be pissed, and like that's okay to feel those feelings. And at some point, like when you go to a new city or maybe we pick a time, it's like, all right, that's over. Like now it's like talking about what's next or what's today, like right in front of us. And that's really helped us. And because you can't win every tournament, and I mean, it'd be great to be carried Misty where you're just winning everything, but it's not reality, and everyone's really good. And only one person ends on a win at the end of the tournament, so you're definitely gonna deal with some adversity. And it's just, yeah, managing those emotions and making sure you feel those emotions so it's not like it's just gonna blow up at the end or at some point. But whether
Yeah.
you have like someone to talk to, like my husband, it's been great because he's like out of the game, so I can like lean on him a little bit. Or having family members to talk to is really important because it's easy to just seclude yourself and just be in that low for a long time.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, yeah, adversity comes up a lot, I feel like, in beach volleyball, because you're just constantly on the road. You're, you know, what do I, like, how do I get to my hotel? What am I eating? Like, can I eat that? Is it good for me? Is it gonna make me throw up? Like, you're constantly like thinking about all these things, but it's like, then that's not even the game part. That's not like, okay, like now I gotta focus on the game. So there's so many different factors when you're traveling and playing beach volleyball and trying to do well. So I think I think the biggest thing, kind of what Betsy says, is like feeling what you're feeling. And I think so many people nowadays don't really, they just brush it off. And I think the biggest thing for me, it might not have seemed like it, but the world tour was completely insane for me. I was like trying to mentally process what was going on. I was trying to adult very fast, and so many things were new for me. And I think I got to a point where like so many people were figuring me out. And I mean, Betsy, you probably realize this too, but like in college, you don't really like have that. You're like, oh, like, you know, you sit in the angle, like you do your shot and you're like, it goes down type thing. And I just remember being actually in Stad, and it was like the worst. It was like the lowest time of my life. I was like, oh, like I just felt like the world was like crashing down, like for just no reason. Like now that I think back, and it's like I'm glad I like got through it. And but I think feeling what you're feeling and being able to communicate it. I remember going to Kelly and I was like, dude, my mind's like going a mile a minute. I feel this and this and you know, I miss my family, like all these things. But I think that was like such a cool time because it bonds you and it connects you. It's like Kelly was like, dude, I've totally felt that way. Like everyone's felt that way. And just to hear that, it just takes loads off of you. And so I think like what Betsy said, feeling what you're feeling, and then also I think just looking at things in a bigger picture really helps me like move on because like I said, it felt like losing in the country quota or losing to get in the qualifier was the end of my life. Like I remember just feeling it was that bad. And I remember calling my mom like, oh my God. And I think just thinking like no one really cares. Like no one in 5 years is going to remember this. No one tomorrow is probably going to remember this. You know, everyone loses, everyone wins, but thinking of it as a bigger picture, like I get to be here and it's hard to think in a bigger picture at the time, but that's really like we should be lucky to, you know, be here right now and play what we like. And I think it's definitely hard to think that way, but the more I think of it as a bigger picture, the easier it is to just play free and like, well, shiz, we lost. Okay, like moving on. And kind of just enjoying like having fun, just, you know, not making fun of it, but just having a reason to laugh. Like, okay, wow, I just pooped my pants. Okay, moving on. Just like, you know, it's easier and it's more fun that way.
Yeah.
But it's definitely hard, I'm not gonna lie.
Rich has a question for both of you. What are your go-to self-talk cues when things aren't going well and you're struggling on the court? Can you divulge those or?
um, Geez. I don't even know, like, I don't have like a quote or anything that like, trying to think.
I'm better when like I'm not thinking about myself, I'm thinking about the other side. So like saying F you know, not like literally saying it, but like, you know,
I
in
heard
your
it,
head, it's like,
heard it when I was playing her.
oh, no, no. No, I just think it's important to get off yourself and focus on what you want to do. And for me, it's like getting amped up about the other side.
Yeah, no, I agree. I
Not for
think,
everyone
yeah, no, it's actually like kind of crazy because I do the same thing. I think two things. I just want to be aggressive. I think the more that I start to become internal, I think lots of people are like, oh, shots, shots. But I think the more you can force yourself to be aggressive, the easier it is to get out of that. And also, I just kind of what you were saying. I think just like making up random stories about other people, like across the net, just like crazy stuff, like, oh my God, she like not like killing or anything, but like I don't know, just like they did something to my family
Yeah,
or like oh my, and you're just like mentally just like making this stuff up. I think it really like hypes me up.
me
Like
too.
Um,
my
But it's funny because it doesn't work for everyone. Like Emily's very like opposite of that. And so it's
nice,
interesting
nice
to like
people.
what
what
does Emily do?
Those are nice people over there.
I know she's like they didn't do anything and I'm like, you know, trying to hype myself up and I'm like, Emily, like she's like, let's
Dude,
calm down and I'm like, okay.
no, it's funny because I mean we've played you a ton of times, but like I feel like we always get into the battle of like over on twos or just like random like crap shots, and you're like
Yeah, I'm
pumping it over and
I'm done doing that against you. You pick it up every time.
no, it's funny because when you start it or something, I'm just like always whispering to Kelly. I'm like, okay, she started it, like you know, game on, you know, gotta do back, like
Oh,
you
I
can
do
play
it too. I do it too.
that, but
Um,
it's funny.
there's a coach named Molly wants to know what your favorite books that you've read and influenced you, and what are you reading now?
Our favorite coach that we've
No,
read?
books.
What? Oh,
Book,
books.
books. Sorry.
A coach that we've read.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
You have some favorite books that influenced you along the way, and what are you reading now? Is what she wants
I'll
to know.
go. I'm raising my hand. Okay. I would say the biggest book that really influenced me was a book I read back in October, November called Start With Why. And I mean, over the world tour, I mean, it didn't stop in shot. It like my mindset was just, it was just a whirlwind. There's so much noise, Olympics, like, are you winning? Are you losing? Like, people are picking up on your tendencies. So like my mind was just not in a good place. And we had a new coach come on, and he, basically, this sounds really bad. I don't know how much time we have, but
As
uh,
much as you want.
he asked me the question. We were interviewing him, and I was like, oh, like, what's your availability? And then he's like, dude, I have questions for you. I was like, what? Like, we're interviewing you. I wasn't like expecting questions being fired back, but he was like, why do you want to go to the Olympics? And I was like, I literally started to break down. I was like, oh my God, like I felt like my life was going so fast and things were going so fast that I never really had time to process why I wanted to do it. Like everyone wants to go, like that's sick. But like why? Like what's something bigger? Like are you doing it for yourself or like I just didn't feel like I honestly could answer that question, and it's scary because you're like in the middle of this process. And so he's like, read this book called Start With Why. And I think it really allowed me to figure out like, yeah, just answer the question like, why am I playing beach volleyball? Like, yes, I love it, but do I want to do something further? Do I want to influence, the younger athletes? Like, what do I want to do with this platform of mine? And I think it was, yeah, literally the best book I've read so far. And yeah, it allowed me to think of a bigger picture than just yeah, like you're just a beach volleyball player. Like I think it allowed me to think in a different light.
It's the Simon Sinek book, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Betsy, what about you?
Yeah, I like Brene Brown's Daring Greatly. That one's a really good one.
Dude, I love that book. Oh.
I also love Ken Revisa's Heads Up Baseball is really good for like the mental game. I read it in college and I still use tactics like to this day of like recognizing, are you like a yellow light, red light, green light? Like where are you right now? Like how can you get to a green light or a yellow? Just using tactics like that. So I recommend that book for like mental skills. It's really good.
So, Betsy, in the last 4 years, you've gotten into coaching. You're coaching at LMU. Probably, did you actually play Sarah her senior year at UCLA? Did you get to play them, and you got to coach against her?
I got to coach Sarah.
Didn't you guys beat us or something?
My team beat you, maybe?
I think it did, didn't it?
It did. It did.
You beat UCLA when she.
Well, not the team win, but we beat Sarah's team. Sorry.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
It's okay. You got the winning record. Yeah, I got to coach against Sarah and I got to coach Sarah, but that was more
Talk
like
about coaching, though. Talk about the different perspective now with coaching. Even though you're still a player, but also coaching. Like, is it help? Is it somewhat of a hindrance sometimes when you're playing? You kind of get in your head a little bit more as a coach. How does that work?
no. I really enjoy it. I think it's inspiring to see like the athletes we have, they're making all these changes and then I go to practice and John's coaching me and I get so frustrated and I remember like how hard it is to make changes. And I like as a coach, you're like, oh, this is so easy. Like just do it. So it's just like a good reminder, like it's so hard to be a player. So I think it really helps, and the girls are like motivating and they support me, so it's a ton of fun to be a player and a coach, and like balancing it's obviously a challenge, but I really love it, and I love the relationships I've built and I'm building with athletes, and that's probably one of the best parts about it. And something I'm getting better at is just developing relationships with people.
And how was Betsy as a coach, Sarah? You remember her coaching you?
It was junior year, right? Did you coach us that much? No, I
No,
mean,
because
wait,
I mean, I was volunteer and I was like, I don't feel comfortable coaching Sarah. I played with Sarah. And I like had asked Sarah, I'm like, do you want my feedback? Because like this is weird.
I
Like we
don't even
played
remember what
together.
I said. I hope I said yes.
Yeah, you did. But I mean it was still like weird because like I mean we're peers and like when I first started coaching it was right after college. So like I was playing with teammates or coaching teammates that I played with. It was kind of weird dynamic, but I felt like they respected me and it was
Yeah.
worked out well.
No, yeah, I honestly don't remember a whole lot. I don't think you were coaching on our court.
No.
But no, I think, like you said, it's definitely, I haven't experienced it, but going from player to coach, I feel like it would be hard. Like, it's like do I do this? Do I not? Because it was just like 4 months ago that I was like, but I think, she handled it really well. And I hope I was Good. Back to her.
Of course, of course.
Mark wanted to know the second book you talked about, Betsy, was it Ken Revisa? Was it Heads Up Baseball?
Yeah.
By
Yep.
Ken Revisa, Ravizza, Mark, just so you know. Molly wants to know if you guys have any pre-match rituals.
I mean, I eat oatmeal every day, so that's like a must for me when I'm on the road. If there's oatmeal, it's a good day. I'm obsessed with it. And then I have to go to the bathroom. That's about it. Like I try not to do a ton of rituals because, like we said, there's so much adversity, like that you don't know, like you don't want to have too many things because you might like have 2 minutes to warm up. You might have like an hour. They might push you back. So
Did,
I
did you
really try
know?
to.
Did you
What?
know before we played you in Chetumal, we forgot our jerseys in our hotel? Did you know that? That's why I was like gone for 20 minutes and I came on the court like 13 minutes before the game started.
I don't remember that.
I know we were trying to keep it secret.
Oh
So I
my
was like trying
God.
not to stress out. I was like,
I mean,
okay,
you
just
did
stay
pretty well. You didn't
calm.
look stressed.
Like I actually felt pretty calm, except then we got beat pretty bad the first set. But
But then
I think
you
you
proved
crushed
wrong.
us like 21-12 and then we crushed you 21-12 and then it was like 15-13.
Dude, that was like Eric. We had the
Uh,
craziest third set of Chetamall.
we had no business losing. We were up like 14-12. I hate you so much.
No, I remember it was what, like, was it like 14-12? It was
Yes.
14-12, and we go to a timeout, and I remember like it's hot as crap. I don't even know how hot it was. It was
It's
so
like
hot.
9 p.m.
Yeah, it's 9 p.m. There's probably like bugs everywhere. And I just remember turning to Kelly and like we didn't say like anything in the timeout. And I'm just like drinking my water. I'm like, Kelly, like we're not losing this. Like yeah, like that was like my mindset. I'm like, dude, we're not losing. And we walked out and she's like, oh, okay. And so like we walked out and it was a crazy, like I felt like the game after that timeout was like just
Yeah.
crazy. But it was nuts.
Wow.
Nuts.
Yeah.
Good. That was like long ago.
Let's see. Molly wants to know, so what do they try to do to each other now when they play? Meaning, what are their weaknesses? So, in other words, I don't even know if we can get into this without getting too gnarly here, but
Yeah,
so
this is a hard one. I mean, we
yeah,
played each other so many times that it's
I
like
think
a different game and same game every time. It's like it's just weird.
yeah, I think yeah, like you said, yeah, it's a different game. I think the only thing I really look out for is just her crapping on us over on two. I'm just like, okay, if we're gonna get anything, it's her over on twos. So I'm like,
But
okay, whenever she's like squared up at the net, I'm like, okay, she's gonna go over, possibly. Like,
yeah, and you pick them up every time, so it works.
this is something that's it's always interesting. But when you're friends like you guys are, and you play each other, how long does it take before you can actually like have a civil conversation with each other? Like how long does it take for the competition to just ooze out of you and you can just become back to being friends again? Or does it take like, is it
well, this is the first time we've talked pretty much since Chatham, so about like 6 months, Eric.
No, I mean, I have a lot of respect for Sarah, and I think like after games, it's easy for people to be like pissy and like not shake hands. But I mean, I know like for us, like whether for both of us we win or lose, like we're always shaking each other's hands and like making sure we respect each other. And I feel like Sarah's different than like many of my opponents because you are a good friend, and um like if I see you the next day, like I don't
Right.
hold it against you. Like it's a game. Like
Yeah.
I mean, it means a lot to me. It's our life, but like
Yeah.
I mean, we respect each other that like it's fine the next day or 6 months later.
Yeah. 6 months later. No, I think it's yeah, I feel like always great. I mean, yes, one of us is either winning or losing, but I think just like how you respond after that just speaks volumes to people's characters, and it's so easy to lose your cool and be disrespectful and go back to the 10, not shake people's hands. But like I said, like I think I'm always trying to think just like how are my actions going to speak like years from now or like months from now, and Am I going to ruin relationships? It's like, it's so quick for something like that that can stick in people's minds. And it's like, you kind of have to control yourself. Yes, it's a game, and yes, you're mad that you lost, but it speaks more volumes like down the road for how you react in that moment, to shake someone's hand or to say good job, or, you know. So I think, yeah, I think we both do a really good job of that.
Yeah, and
What's
I
your,
think,
go ahead. Go
sorry, I
ahead.
was gonna say in college, I remember like it pained me, but national championship, I don't know if that stuck with you, but like our opponents didn't shake our hands after until like much later, and like that stuck with me my entire life. Like I've always remembered like who shakes my hand and who doesn't. And like it's
Yeah.
important to celebrate and like enjoy the win, but like respect your opponent, like and go shake their hands and tell them good job and then go back to your celebrating. And yeah, I think that's a huge lesson for all young athletes too.
Yeah.
Molly asked the question if you guys know what your win-loss record is against each other professionally.
I don't
Close
keep
to
I
100,
actually
is it
don't know.
I have no idea.
I think I've probably lost more to you this year. I don't
Yeah, I
know.
don't know. Molly, we don't know.
Molly
Answer.
probably knows.
Yeah, she's probably like,
Yeah, she
that's
probably
She's
the
like,
Excel sheet. Wins, losses, dates.
Yeah, just wanted to. First of all, thank you guys so much for doing this. I appreciate it. I want to give you a second to kind of talk about your personal stuff. Sarah, I know you've got a new website and you're doing some
TikTok.
your whatever. But give everybody what your handles are on everything and your website, and then Betsy, I'll let you talk about gold medal and all your stuff. So, but Sarah, go ahead.
Yeah, I started a website, pretty basic, sarahsponcil.com. Got some like, challenges on there, what I'm, doing, workouts, blogs. I don't know, it's been kind of nice. I've just started it during quarantine, and I think, I've always kind of liked writing. I've never done it. So I'm like, oh, let's just try it. Let's, make some blogs here and there. So I have a website, started the whole YouTube gang. So you find me on Sarah Sponcil, I think that, or volleyball, Sarah Sponcil volleyball. And yeah, just trying to learn how to do that, which is just a whole different world to learn. And then yeah, Instagram, SM Sponcil, Twitter, started a TikTok. Don't know where it's going, but ideas start flowing and I start, making stuff. So go check it out if you want.
Is there a
Yeah,
unicycle involved on any of the TikToks?
I left my unicycle in Hermosa. I'm so mad. But yeah, messing around with the parents, giving them lessons. There's a new video coming out soon, so stay tuned.
Okay.
But yeah.
Also wrote a little workout blog a little bit ago. Is that on your website now?
Yeah, everything's on my website, all my workouts, and it'll take you to my YouTube. So yeah, all fun stuff, different little challenges you can do.
She
So
does burpees without the push up or the jump.
I know I did this. It's called the 411 workout. I did it. I was sitting on my couch. I'm like, Sarah Sponcil, you need to get up and do something active today. So I'm like, okay. Literally, this came to my head. I was like, okay, gonna do like 400 burpees, 100 push-ups. Like I read it on I saw something like on CrossFit, like whatever. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna try it. And yeah, in no way was I gonna do 400 jumps. So, and then the push-ups became knee push-ups because I was so tired. So all good.
That's
We
pretty
accomplished it.
impressive though. You did good.
Yeah, and for those of you watching, if her on her Instagram, there's one video that I've seen where she actually abuses her parents, and it's almost criminal. But I don't want to get into that. So
Pretty
It's
funny.
called training. Everyone needs training.
yeah, Betsy, what are you up to?
Well, you can follow me at Betsy Flint, Betsi Flint, easy. And I post workouts, food stuff, and I'm coaching. We're doing gold medal squared for beach, so at GMS Beach for Instagram. We're working on up in Instagram, so it's not that exciting yet. But we're doing a virtual clinic coming up, I think June 16th. But you can look for it. I'll announce it on my Instagram. But yeah, it'll be a great time to ask questions. We'll watch some game film, and you can pick my brain and John's brain and Joe Trinzi. So it'll be a good time.
Okay. And before we go, I want to mention that before we actually let the audience in, you guys said you kind of made this sort of semi-pledge before your careers were over that you were going to do what?
We're gonna play together. Is this like in an AVP or are we gonna go USA?
Oh, I mean, I was thinking AVP, but I mean,
You know,
I
we
don't know
gotta
if we're.
shoot for the stars here.
We'll see. We're gonna play in a tournament together when we're old before we're gonna retire.
Yes.
There you go. So they're making that claim here. So I want to thank you both very much. I want to thank the attendees very much. Gil, thanks for your help on the IT side always as well. There will be Carlos Moreno. We'll be talking about setting on Wednesday night at 6, and then Thursday, a pretty interesting conversation with the last 2 junior college coaches in Arizona to win national championships and how they both kind of turned their seasons around. And then next Sunday is John Kessel talking about getting better as coaches. So all these are free, of course. Thank you guys again for joining us and for being a part of this. And for everybody out there, thank you very much and have a good night.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye.